Welcome everyone. Come on into the webinar, Virtual Team Building to kick off the school year. Woo, woo. We're gonna just let people come on in, get yourself situated. Hopefully you've got some, cup of coffee or tea or water, whatever you need. All right, it's really fun to see the numbers. We're well over 100 now.
Oh my goodness.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Amy Climer, and I'm also here with...
I'm Bryn Lottig, and I am so excited to see so many of you guys here today.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna just not officially start for one more minute and let people come on in. In a moment, I'm gonna ask you to put something specific in the chat box. So go ahead and get yourself situated, figure out the chat box, especially if you're on a mobile device that might take another couple clicks. All right, well, let's kick this off. The numbers are starting to stabilize. So welcome everyone. This is the virtual team building to kick off your school year. So if you are a teacher or an educator wanting to be more experiential in the work you do, you are in the right place. My name is Dr. Amy Climer, and I'm here with my colleague. That's your cue.
I'm Bryn. I'm Bryn Lottig, and it's such an honor for Amy Climer to call me a colleague.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, this is gonna be fun today. So the first thing we want to do, we're going to introduce ourselves in a little more depth in a moment, but the first thing is we want to know who you are. So here's your first task of the day. In one response, put in the chat box your name, where you are in the world right now, and what do you do in education? What type of work do you do? Are you a kindergarten teacher, teach 12th grade? Put all of that in one response. That's your challenge for the day, for the morning, first thing. Oh my gosh, we have people here from all over the world.
Blowing up.
Leninger.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Kindergarten classmate. That's awesome. Hi, Rose, Justin, Ron. We've got Adrian from Bucharest. Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
We have people from Romania. Yeah. Alaska, special ed teachers, advisors. Oh my gosh. Outdoor educators. Oh, I'm so excited.
Awesome. Hey, Mary.
I can't even keep up.
Great. Oh my gosh, I love it. So Silvio from Miami is teaching Israeli dance. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. We are super excited y'all are here. All right, keep that comment if you haven't put it in. Love seeing people from all around the world. And if you are in Alaska, you are up early. So thanks for being here live today. That's super cool. All right, the other thing you need this morning, is we're gonna invite you to go a little old school during the webinar. I want you to grab a pencil or a pen and some paper. And we're gonna encourage you to take notes so that, have this over here on the side, so then you can fully focus. You're not skipping around trying to find your digital notes, but have a pencil and pen. And there's a little activity we're gonna invite you to do later that you'll want that writing implement. So get yourself situated there. All right. Oh, we have Segundo. Hi, Segundo from the Philippines. I just had to say hi to him.
Oh.
All right. So I'm going to throw up a poll, and I want to know, this school year, will you be teaching in person or online? So I'm going to throw this poll up on the screen and take a moment and answer. If where are you going to be teaching? In person, online, some sort of blend, hybrid? I'm going to give you a moment to do that.
We're very aware that sometimes this decision for districts is changing and being debated hourly, daily. I know in Wisconsin, we just had a new mask order come down, and my school district is scrambling. So go ahead and give it your best guess if you're not even sure. So.
All right, and I see from the chat that Christine says, I've never homeschooled. I'm half excited and half nervous. All right, I'm gonna end the poll now. We've got most everyone has voted, and I'm gonna share the results with you so you can see those. And it looks like only 10% of you are going to be teaching fully in person, and about almost half of you a hybrid, and the other half doing online, virtual. So The activities that we're going to share with you today, most of them will work either virtual or in person. So yeah, so hopefully this is a good fit for all of you. All right. Actually, I don't think we have a slide for this, but we want to just talk a little bit about who we are and what we do and how we met each other and why we're doing this together. Bryn, are you starting this?
I think I am.
Go for it.
So my name is Bryn Lottig and I live in northern Wisconsin. I have been an outdoor educator for a little over a decade and went back and got my master's in experiential ed, adventure-based experiential ed, and I've been working at Camp Manitowish doing purposeful facilitation, using low ropes, high ropes, and wilderness tripping. But really my jam is using wilderness and adventure to teach social emotional learning. And once I got my master's, I got a position working within a school district. So I think there's a couple of my coworkers who are here from AVW, Arbor Vita Woodruff School. So we are an EL education school, so an expeditionary learning school. And I take kids on adventures once a season or once a trimester from pre-K through 8th grade. And my coworker, Adventure Andy, and I sort of developed this program to get kids outside of the classroom. And our intention is to teach courage and curiosity, grit, while being in the wilderness, getting outside of our comfort zones, but then being able to transform those same lessons to academics. So when math gets really hard and you're learning something new, how is that similar to when we got lost when we were out snowshoeing? And so I love it. And I work with middle schoolers every day teaching leadership, team building, and then I get to have an indoor challenge course in climbing wall. And I just love it. But while I was in grad school, I met my partner. Her name is Kendra Bostic, and she had this idea for an app. And so we started doing this thing, and it's working out. So we'll tell you more about that later, but I'm excited. So
awesome. Thanks, Bryn. So my name is Amy Climer. I think I said that already, but for those who are just arriving, and I'm kind of an experiential educator, this outdoor education background. I've worked for organizations like Outward Bound, led, I don't know, hundreds of days taking kids out in the woods. Worked on probably a dozen ropes courses around the country. But now what I do is I mostly work indoors and with a lot of adults, and I teach people how to be more creative and innovative. And Bryn and I met a couple of, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And at the time, we both were living in Wisconsin. I now live in Asheville, North Carolina. But Bryn reached out to me because she was in grad school and she had this idea to develop an app that would provide teachers just more easy access to experiential activities. And so she called me because they wanted to talk, Bryn and Kendra wanted to talk to somebody in the field, like out in the, being a practitioner. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to you about your project. And, we chatted and I'm thinking, okay, well, they're going to like put 20 hours of work into this and finish the class assignment, and that'll be cool. And then like 4 years later, they have taken this project and exploded it and actually created the real app. It's no longer just a concept. And I have been super impressed watching Bryn and Kendra in this progression over the last 4 years. And then Bryn and I worked together. She was in a course that I taught called the Deliberate Facilitator last year. So anyway, it's really fun to be here together. We thought this would be a cool thing to offer you all, just a way to think about how are you going to provide, develop more connection and do some team building in the classroom this year as you kick off the school year. So that's a bit about how Bryn and I met.
Yeah, and before we dive into some of the content, my partner Kendra is here. She is helping moderate the chat. So if at any point you have questions about some other stuff, you can give her a shout out. And her and Amy have this connection in that they're both UNH student and alum. And so I know there's a whole bunch of UNH folks here, and so go Wildcats.
Awesome.
But yeah.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit about this whole idea of team building. And I think this term is kind of funny because it has a lot of meanings. But since we put it in the title, we want to talk about why does this even matter? I once had a group that came to me a few years ago. It was actually an adult group. And they wanted me to lead a team building activity. But they said, here's the thing. You can't use any balls. It's like, what? This is random. What difference does it make if I'm using like, a little like throwy balls, like this kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And in talking to them, what I realized is what they cared more about was they didn't want it to be like this hokey, ridiculous thing. And that was the only way they knew how to communicate that. And they kind of like understood this is important, but they didn't really know why. And so let's just talk a little bit about that. Like, why does this whole idea of team building matter? And I don't even think that's the right word, but that's just the word that we use. Because often we're doing something we call team building, but it's not actually with a team. Really what it's about is creating connection, right? It's just helping people connect with each other and develop relationships, develop some compassion with each other. And so I want you to just like throw in the chat box, like, what do you think the answer to this question is? Like, why does this whole concept of team building matter?
Ooh, there's some good answers. Group engagement, relationship building, building trust. I have a similar story myself. While those answers are coming in, I also work for a for-profit zipline, and I'm in charge of all of their corporate training and outings. And I often get the response of, well, this was better than I thought it would be. And there's just that sort of negative thing on forced team building. And so it's interesting to hear those stories. But yeah, I know that this is the group where we're preaching to the choir. You guys know why it's so important. You guys have seen the transformation in your participants, in the groups that you work with, in your students, when you put the time and effort into building those relationships and those connections from the beginning.
Yeah, and ultimately, it is about that connection. And when you think about students learning, they need that connection before they can really get into the content. And so when you're kicking off your school year, if you like start off, the beginning of the first week and you're like 100% focused on the content, students are going to struggle for the rest of the year. You really want to spend some time focusing on connection. In the research that I did for my dissertation, and I looked at these elements that teams need if they want to be creative together, one of the big things that came up was just the dynamics. What are the relationships like within teams? And it's the same thing within a classroom. Even if you're not actually a team by definition, you do have some shared goals together. You're trying to learn together. And so creating opportunity for connection is super important. And for those of you that are working either in a hybrid situation or online, I think it's even more important because right now students are so isolated and they're not having an opportunity to connect with each other and even just meet new friends. I have a 19-year-old in my house. This coming up this school year will be, or this semester will be her second semester in college. And she's struggling to meet friends because, there's no like student union to go hang out. There's no cafeteria, there's no sports. And so as a teacher, that's a role that you can play, is that you can help students create that connection. I also see that when students are connected, they're more engaged in their work, they're more engaged in the class. So spending some time to make that connection is really important. So we want to give you some tools to help make that happen today. So we're going to share with you 3 or 4 different activities that you can use the first week of school. Whoops. All right. So I'm going to turn it over to Bryn, and she's going to share the first couple of activities.
All right. So this activity, it's called Sticks, Stones, and Bones. I learned it from author and presenter Chris Cavett. And traditionally, when I did this as an outdoor facilitator at Camp Manitowish, I would use things that I found in nature. So what I want you to do is, you are more than welcome to play along. You're going to need a pencil, a Sharpie, and a scissors, or something that represents those things. So Amy, if you want to put us in gallery view so that we can play this a little bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to give Amy directions on how to arrange these things. So Amy, I would like you to take your scissors and open them facing and place them on the desk. And I want you to open them and face them towards your computer. And then put your pencil pointing horizontally to the right at the scissors. And then take your Sharpie and put it on the other side of the scissors on the left at a 45-degree angle.
Okay, I gotta get a little more space. Oh shoot! Oh, I already forgot half the directions.
Yes.
I didn't know I was gonna need so much space. I wasn't planning. Okay, I'm sure I got this all wrong.
Okay, so quick sidebar, as the facilitator, you can make a couple of different rules. You can say that you can repeat the directions, or you only get to give them once. The participant can ask clarifying questions, or they can't talk. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. But Amy, you think you're ready?
I think so.
Okay, so we're going to show our arrangement and see how close our arrangements are.
Okay,
So that's how I have my things arranged. Oh.
I know it's wrong.
So not quite the same. If you were playing along, throw in the chat whether or not you got it right. This activity gives a fun opportunity to debrief perspective and clarify like communication. So when I say open the scissors, you know, what does that mean to me versus what does that mean to you? And when I say my right or my left, sometimes if you have your camera on mirroring, that makes things a little bit more challenging. If you specify, you know, where the end of your marker or your pencil, is it the eraser end? Is it the sharpened end? So there's a lot of interesting discussion all about that. And if you're not familiar or comfortable debriefing, coming up with those questions on your own, I've got a helpful resource for you that we can talk about later. But you can have your students go into breakout rooms and you can pair them up and have them do it with each other and flip-flop, or you as the teacher could do it to the whole class, or the class could take turns being the leader. A whole bunch of different ways that you could do this with your students.
I just want to address a couple of questions that came up in the chat box, which I think are great.
Mm-hmm.
The first was, what if they don't have the materials? So in this case, we cheated a little bit, and that Bryn said to me, hey, I need you to have these 3 things ready. And so the key would be to make sure you select items, you know, I mean, a pencil or pen, or, you know, things that you would expect your participants to have. And depending on the context, another thing you might do is, this might not work so much for like K-12 teachers, but those of you that are consultants who might be doing something like this with a group, is you might mail them a package or have some specific materials that you would want them to have. Yeah, Deborah, we're not going to put the instructions in the chat, but we will give you resources at the end of where you can get the instructions for all these later. So that's a little too much for us, but we can, we'll make sure you have all the directions later.
Yeah. Another option is having them draw, you know, representations of those things. So there's a whole bunch of variations. And again, we'll have a write-up of this activity with variations, instructions, and some helpful tips and tricks. But it's exciting to see, yeah, you could absolutely do a scavenger hunt in order for them to find those materials. So that's wonderful. So the next activity we're gonna do is called Tiny Teach. And this is one of my very favorite activities that I've done at camp for years. And how we run it in person is I split my participants up and I have them get in pairs. And really, this is a great activity for my participants. If they hear we're gonna do icebreakers and they're like, ugh, I don't wanna stand in a circle and come up with some sort of verb that starts with the same first letter as my name and be the last one who has to say bouncing Bryn, like Amy antlers, Kendra kangaroo, and remember that 20-person sequence of their name plus an action plus a word, because it puts people on the spot and they're uncomfortable performing. They don't know what to say when it comes to themselves and they're anxious about that, and then they have to remember all these other things. So Tiny Teach is a really nice activity that gets people to be able to do one-on-one conversations without that spotlight feeling. And so my go-to Tiny Teach activity is this. And some of you, if you're a Kickoff, you might have seen me do this already. So Amy, what you're gonna do is you might need to back up a little bit. But you're gonna take your hands, you're gonna cross them out in front of you, bend your elbows in, take your pointer fingers, put your pointer fingers on the side of your nose and untwist.
What?
Okay, I'll do it again. So you cross your hands, bend your elbows in, pointer fingers, and everybody else do this. You're not on camera, so it's not as embarrassing.
Good for you, right?
And untwist.
What do I do with my pointer fingers?
Put them on the side of your nose. And now untwist your hands.
How did you do that? I can't believe we're recording this.
All right, so do you want to know the trick?
Yeah.
So the trick is that whatever hand is on top, that pinky needs to be on top.
Okay.
So pinky, whatever arm is on top, pinky on top. And then you can untwist. So, all right, pinky on top, arm on top.
Right?
Yep.
Right, okay.
Here, then bend in. Have your fingers up. They're still crossed.
Oh.
Yep. There. Now.
That's hilarious.
When I debrief this activity, I often tell my participants that I was not trying to make you feel stupid or silly or embarrass you, but laughing together is a really great icebreaker or ice melter, if you will. And being able to have this shared experience and then feel like you have this trick or thing that you can do. I find it very enjoyable. When I traveled abroad and I was in countries where I didn't speak the language, I would often do this with the children in the villages when I was in Southeast Asia. And we would just laugh so hard. And so I was able to create this moment where we had a shared experience, where we were laughing, where we were smiling, and language wasn't a barrier anymore. So
That's awesome.
That's my tiny teach. Amy, I'm ready for yours.
Oh, all right. I'm going to teach you a magic trick. And I learned this trick from my sister, Karen. And she's actually has been a professional clown at another point in her life. So this is a very impressive magic trick. So you're going to need one finger up like this. Go ahead. Next finger like this. Okay. Now this part, just watch, and then you can do it yourself. Now you notice I just have the two fingers, nothing too fancy here, right? And I'm going to make this, watch this. Okay, your turn.
All right, if I go really fast, aha! So when, as an educator, if you are running this virtually, you know, we're doing this here, you could send them into breakout rooms, you could teach it, again, as like a forum and a group and having people take turns doing it. I do like that tiny teach in that pairs. And then you can have them come back and show the rest of the group the tiny thing that they learned. And so it creates this new little partnership where they have this shared experience if they've done it in pairs, and then being able to bring it to the group and share knowledge. And so something that I like to sort of close that activity with is that we all have tiny talents. We all have something to share. We can all bring those things to the table. And when we share those talents, those ideas, those nuggets, we're learning more about one another, and that makes us stronger as a group because of our collective knowledge.
Awesome.
So
love it.
Yeah.
All right, and you got the third one for us.
Yeah, so this last one that we're gonna do here is called a quick caricature. And by quick, I mean you got a minute. So what I want you to do, and again, for those of you playing along at home, grab your pencil and something to write on. And what you're doing is you're going to do a caricature of somebody else. And this is something that I like to front load with. This is not ever meant to be offensive. It is just meant to be warm and silly. We're not drawing Dumbo ears or big noses on anybody, but I'm gonna draw Amy. Amy is gonna draw me, and we're gonna try and do it without picking up our pencil or without looking at the paper. So just looking at one another, we're gonna try and do it. And so if you're playing at home, go ahead and pick one or the other of us and try and do a quick caricature, and then we'll throw them up on social media or something. It'll be really fun. So yeah, I was just gonna ask you to do that. So the point is to notice little things about the other person. So ready, set, go.
All right, your timing is?
Yes. And you're not concentrating on what you're actually drawing as much as you're looking at the other person. And you want to highlight features about them that seem important. So we've got about 30 more seconds. And so see if you can do it without lifting your pencil. And we'll go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and stop.
I gotta put your name on this.
So yes, title it, put your signature on it as an artist.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Put it up on the screen.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's so fun. The way that you can talk about this with your participants is really when we run this activity in person. What I like about it is I place my participants across from one another, and they tend to make quite a bit of eye contact. And there is neuroscience research that talks about how much team bonding and how you deepen relationships by spending time making eye contact. A lot of times at this point, when middle school teachers bring their students to me, they talk about how their students are struggling with making eye contact, having direct or hard conversations. They feel a lot more comfortable behind a screen, texting, having their relationships over social media, or even video gaming. And they get really uncomfortable doing extended eye contact. I did a workshop with Kim Wasserberger at the AEE International, where we spent an uncomfortable amount of time looking into the eyes of another person. But it really develops that relationship. And now me and that same gal, we've seen each other at conferences since then and been like, you're the one, I was crying when I was looking at you. And oh my gosh, it was so meaningful. But I really like that for participants. And you can do this virtually. So just because we're not together in person, it doesn't mean that we can't make those connections. It doesn't mean that we can't make eye contact. You know, I am very much staring at a camera on my computer, but the psychological effect of me staring at that camera still makes you and I feel connected. And so this activity is great for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Bryn. And there was a request to show our masterpieces one more time. So I'm going to throw that up again. Awesome. And you'll notice, oh my gosh, I love the little like jaggedy hair. You'll see on the screen in the corner our handles. If you want to post these on social media, tag us, that would be awesome. You can even do like hashtag quick caricature, something like that. Kendra, can you throw those in the chat box as well, so that people can cut and paste if they want. But yeah, we'd love to see those. Yeah, that would be funny. All right. So, I'm going to share an activity that you can use that you can't quite use yet, but I'm hoping you can use before the first day of school. So let me share this with you. So many of you may be familiar with my this product that I created a few years ago, Climer cards. Just curious, like throw in the chat box a big yes if you have used Climer cards before. It's this deck of cards. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing tons of yeses all the time. I love them. Awesome. Sweet. Okay, cool. So one of the things I've been getting asked a lot about since about March or April is, do you have a virtual version of Climer cards? And it's something that I've been thinking about for years, literally since probably about 2014, when I actually have a prototype developed. And I now have a software team working on this, and the goal is to have these available mid to late August. And I'm super excited about them. So I'm gonna share this prototype with you all today and give you a chance to explore Climer cards. So let me first explain what they are. So Climer cards are, you can see the images on the screen. They're these about playing card size deck of cards. They're all images that I drew, that I painted, and they're designed specifically to help spark some metaphors and imagination. And they're great conversation starters. They're a great way to help people go deeper in a particular conversation. So the virtual version, what they look like, kind of like this. This is the prototype, so it's not quite the same, but everybody, in a moment, I'm going to share a link with you all in the chat box, and you'll be able to go here live and use these. But you'll see a screen that looks like this. And I'm going to challenge you to select a card that represents a hope that you have for your class that's coming up. Whether you're a K-12 teacher, whether you're a college professor, whether you're a consultant, and maybe you just have one specific course you're going to be leading soon. Think about what that class is and what's a hope you have for those students in the class. Then, so get that in your head. And Bryn, can you see the screen still?
I can.
Okay, cool. So then what you're gonna do, you're gonna come here to the screen and all you have to do is click on a card and then you're gonna type in your name and then you're gonna put why you chose that card and then hit create response. And when you do that, you can then see what others have submitted. Now, here's the thing I'm gonna ask you all to do is, well, first of all, like just, be kind and respectful. This is a prototype, so it doesn't quite work how it's supposed to yet, which means that if anybody down here hits reset cards, we're gonna lose all the cards. So please do not click that button, at least in the next 10 minutes. But if you wanted to create a second response, you could do that. So let me, I'm gonna throw this link in the chat box for you all. And actually, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because sometimes I know what happens is you accidentally click on the screen that's being shared. So go into this chat box and remember the question you're answering is to select an image that represents one hope you have for your students or for your class that's coming up. All right, so take a moment, go there. All right, I see responses coming in. All right, Tara, I see your response. Becky, awesome. All right, I'm going to share the responses screen, which means it might change your screen a little bit, but if you get lost, just go back to your web browser, Chrome or Safari or whatever you have there. So I'm going to share this so you all can see the responses coming in. Can you see that, Bryn?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So Julia says, I hope that we're going to be able to go on our overnight trips this year. Yeah, for sure. I hope so too. Laura says, I want to open new doors for my students. Cindy also picked the door and said, I want to show them what is possible. Ellen says, to be kind to yourself. That's a great learning. Yeah, Ron picked the eye and says, we need to keep our eye on the outcome. All right, love it.
So many different responses for the same card.
Yeah, I know. I love that. Like right here, here's Ashley and Mark next to each other. Mark says, I hope my learners find their own way. Whereas Ashley says, I hope my students are able to make some sense out of the odd shapes and looks of their world. Yeah, so anyway, I just want to show you this virtual version of Climer cards. The app will come out, or the actual real thing will come out, like I said, probably mid-August, mid to late August. And I will make sure to send you all an email when those are available. They're also, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about where you can get access to these in a little bit. So thank you. Keep them coming. Feel free to keep adding in there. We're going to move on though, and give you and talk a little bit about some more resources. Let me just change my screen. Can you still see that, Bryn?
Yep, I can.
Sweet. So we want to talk a little bit about where you can learn more. We've thrown 4 quick activities at you. And there are thousands and thousands of activities that you can use to be more virtual, or excuse me, to be more experiential, even in this virtual space, but whether you're virtual or in person. And the first thing is Bryn's going to briefly talk about her app Kakori and tell you all how to download it because there's a free version. So you can download it actually right now. So Bryn, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, so what's so great about where Amy and I are both at right now is that we are sort of beta and prototyping some big projects. And so just like what Amy said about hers, Kendra and I and our team have created an app that is a database of activities, experiential education activities. And we launched our beta beta at the beginning of March, not realizing that in just 2 short weeks, the product that we had spent years creating would no longer be applicable in the way that we had necessarily developed it. So we had developed it for facilitators and educators to be in person with their students. But we made a quick pivot. We were able to start loading virtual activities that focus on physical distancing, as well as we continued to offer it for free through the end of the summer. So it is a beta, it's not perfect, but we're really proud of it. And so if you want to go and grab it right now, it is available for free in the App Store. So if you have iOS or Android, yep. So you can see the Kikori K in the center of the presentation screen, but you don't have to enter a credit card or anything at this point. And so you can preview our beta version for the rest of the summer and play around with it and see sort of what we've done and the direction that we're going. But don't worry, we have been refining and working really hard. So some of the features, Amy, if you want to jump to the next slide. You can discover and search for activities. You can filter by a number of different attributes. You can save and organize those activities by favoriting them, by adding them to what we're calling playlists. So if you want to make a playlist of your favorite icebreakers and a playlist of your favorite problem-solving initiatives, you could do that. Or how I've been using the playlists is I created a playlist for this webinar where I put those activities in an order that I wanted to present them. And so when I'm with my 8th graders, I create a playlist. And if that program, I meet with them every other day for an entire semester, that playlist is going to look very different than the 4-hour corporate event that I have coming up, or the activities that I'm going to do with my 4 and 5-year-olds. And so I like that I can organize those playlists. But if I have a really great playlist, I can also publish it and share that playlist. Or if there's an activity that I love that I've been playing with my participants forever, and it's not in that database yet, I can create that activity and share it with everyone. So we love that it offers so much creativity and innovation. We're bringing community together. The creator profiles have links to what they're doing. So Amy's got her TED Talk featured in hers. And if you've got something else going on, you can link to that in your profile. So that's just a few of those features. But what we're doing right now, yeah, you can go ahead and advance the slides, is that we started a Kickstarter, and it ends in like 8 days. And so the Kickstarter is to fund that subscription. Yeah, go Amy.
Can I just say briefly, I just want to talk a little bit about this whole Kickstarter thing. I know you're going to get into it, but I don't know if everyone knows what this is or what it means. So Bryn and Kendra have put together this Kickstarter campaign. And the cool thing about Kickstarter is it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs or whoever it is, entrepreneurs, artists, creators, to generate some income so then they can, develop whatever they're going to develop. And I'm just super excited to help Bryn and Kendra with this, because Climer cards were actually originally funded on a Kickstarter campaign back in 2012. And Bryn and Kendra have been doing an amazing job of bootstrapping this project. So they literally were trading a developer who was doing some develop on it for Spanish lessons so that they could afford to get it to this point. And I mean, I have just been blown away. I said at the beginning that initially it was like a school project, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And now they're just like rocking it. So anyway, Bryn's going to talk a little bit more about the Kickstarter, what it includes, but I just want to put a plug in there. Like, if you are able to support this and support them, it's an amazing, amazing thing. So I just had to say all that. Bryn. I'm just so
No,
excited.
it's great. Yeah. And a quick retraction to that, it wasn't Spanish lessons. So Kendra was living in Santiago and was trading English lessons.
That's
so yeah, she met these really great developers, super smart, trying to be competitive on a global scale, and their English wasn't as good. So you know, we're trying to leverage trade economy and being as scrappy as we can. But the thing is that we can't maintain this resource for free forever. And if we could, we would. And so the Kickstarter, what that funding is hoping to pay for is the development of management for subscriptions. So we're going to continue to offer a freemium model, but then there's going to be these wonderful paid features as well. So we're not taking the activities away. Those will still be for free, but some of the other higher level features are going to be paid for. But to get it from where we are in this beta version to a real thing, we just need a little bit of financial help. So we launched this Kickstarter, and so it's ending in like 8 days. And go ahead and jump forward, Amy, and I'll tell you a little bit about the tiers. Paid memberships are starting in the fall, and go back one. Oh no, sorry. Here, 1 year membership, $40. In the fall, it's going to be $60. So here is a discounted opportunity for you to get a 1 year membership. There's a limited number of them available at that $40 mark. Once those sell out, it jumps up to $50. So you have access to the app, but also we're developing a library of webinars, spotlights, and more. And then some of the insider access features are VIP feedback, helping us develop some of the next features and where we're going. And so we're really excited about some of that. The next tier is something that we're doing this for our community. So you guys are the ones that, I mean, it's that preaching to the choir. It's that you guys already know how foundational and transformative experiential activities can be. So we're aligning these with social emotional learning content, 21st century skills, and then also academic standards, so mandated teaching standards. And we've been advised not to offer lifetime memberships, but we want you to be a part of our community, and we want you to be around for the rest of the lifetime of this app. And we don't see it going anywhere, but again, we need that financial assistance. So for a lifetime, for $149, you get lifetime access, all those webinars, those spotlights, that VIP feedback status, insider newsletters and up and coming features, first access to workshops and conferences and different events that are going to be happening around the nation. We're working on professional development. We're working on getting in CEUs, so continuing education credits. Our dreams are so big, you guys. They're so big. And if you want to join us for a lifetime, we are cutting off the lifetime memberships after this Kickstarter. They will not be available after August 8th. So we promised that we would put an end to the lifetime memberships because they said they're just a drain on the system. And so we've got them available starting at $149. I'd love for you to get in on it. I'd love for you to join this journey with me.
That's what I did. I've got my lifetime membership and I'm super excited.
Yes.
I'm just curious, can y'all take a moment and put in the chat? And by the way, when you're chatting, you might want to be sure you're doing all panelists and attendees if you want to share with everyone. But post in the chat if you have already contributed to this campaign in some way. I put in my lifetime, I've got my lifetime membership coming up. I'm super excited about it. Who else has already contributed? Oh yeah, Rebecca Ryan's doing it right now. Paul's got one. Barb, Michael, oh my gosh. Super cool. All right, Bryn,
Yes.
keep going.
So some of the questions that I'm seeing, yes, you can search by just physical distancing activities. Yes, you can search by just activities that are good for 5-year-olds. You can search by energy level. You can search by outcome. You can search for math activities or science activities. You can search by virtual. I can jump in here maybe and show you what some of my screens look like. But you can sign up. We don't have in-app signups, so you have to go to the Kickstarter. So Kendra will throw the Kickstarter link in the chat, and you go in there. And then we are also coming up with institutional memberships. So there is an option in the Kickstarter. You can always pledge more than what is in there. That I would never ask you to not give more than you were able. That's so flattering that you even asked that. And then we are going to, we're doing some pilot programming and institutional memberships for schools or organizations that want to have multiple licenses. So we're going in batches of 1 to 25, 25 to 50, and then 50 plus. So for your entire organization, your entire district, that is an option. Please reach out to me directly. There's going to be my contact information in here. Yes, so all of those things.
A couple of comments here in the chat about the link.
Oh no! Oh goodness. It looks like we lost Amy. Oh, hi, Kendra.
I'm here with you guys too.
So the next slides, we're going to have some of our contact information. The other thing is that we are looking to do a partnership between our app and then Amy's virtual app in the fall. We've been working with a bunch of different content contributors. If you haven't liked our Facebook page, please go like our Facebook page, see who else we're working with. And really, if you found something in this webinar valuable and don't feel comfortable or can't afford to gift those membership tiers that I talked about, $1, $5, that means so much, because what it does is it helps our algorithm to be more available to other people who are interested in finding it. So it really helps our Kickstarter algorithm, and hopefully we can be more successful. Something that I didn't get a lot of chance to touch on is just that Ken and our mission is to democratize access to experiential education. And we want to do that both here in the US and around the world. And I'm so excited that we have international participants today. But if you feel called and are able to gift more than those 2 tiers that I outlined in the webinar, we are matching gifts at 2, 5, and 10 subscriptions. So if you purchase 2, 5, or 10 memberships, we are gifting we are matching that gift for underfunded schools. In addition, with that subscription level for those institutions, when I talked about multiple licenses, we also have a scholarship model for underfunded schools that you can apply, and we will help work with you to get this resource into the hands of teachers. So it's not necessarily a resource for the students, but we want the kids, for all of our participants, even if you work with adults, but to have access to that social emotional learning, those 21st century skills, activities that are aligned with teach standards. Want to make it easy when things are upside down and it's hard to sift through the number of resources, when it feels like you're not really sure what direction things are going. This app, I promise, it's been such a fun thing to develop and work on. But we really want teachers to have it. I've been able to play with my students, and it's really great to be able to see how it's impacting kids all over the world. So Kendra is hard at keeping up with the chat, and it's so great to see you guys all here. It doesn't seem like Amy's coming back, which is too bad, because she's so fun and she's just been a mentor of mine, and it's so great to have her collaborating with us and to have her activities and her resources available on the app. We are adding 30 to 50 activities a week at this point. Because we are in that beta version, we didn't want to dump a whole bunch in there until we got sort of our product refined. If you have feedback, we are looking for it. We want to make this a product that is useful for you as an educator. And, you know, we can't develop it alone. We want you on this journey with us. Amy just sent me a text that she is just really struggling and she can't get back in here. So she says, I hope you're able to still go on and run the meeting. And I know that she is grateful for all of you guys, and she'll be sending out a recording of this afterwards. It's not too late for virtual and physical distancing. Sorry, I just saw a comment come through the chat. That's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. So it's not the version that's available in the App Store, but I promise it's the version that's available on my phone. And our developers are pushing that really soon. I don't know if I can nope. It won't let me share my screen. Oh, wait. Maybe I can. Share. So if you're still hanging out, Kendra, can you see my phone? See my screen? Okay. So friends.
We can, yeah, hold on just a second. It's coming. You've started screen sharing and it's coming. We've got 1 full minute for it to work.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you do this, your computer crashes and then I'm left alone.
I know.
So,
Okay.
why don't you just show people if that's what you want to do, Bryn? Show people your phone right there.
We have virtual activities. It is a virtual carousel of all virtual activities. You can go to see all, and these all have virtual directions capabilities. The way the app is set up, it's giving you the debriefing questions. Oh, Amy, hi. I'm so glad you're back.
I don't know what happened. I lost all my internet, but here I am.
That's so fun. But you can search by all those physical distancing virtual tags. And yes, we are coming up with a web option that will come a little bit later this fall. It won't be ready quite as soon as the membership version of the app. But yes, we know that teachers need it on a laptop or a desktop screen, that teachers can't always have their phones out in front of their students if they are in person. But yes, all the things, but send it to us because we love your ideas and we, again, want to make this something that is for you. Amy, do you want to, there you go. show up some of our contact info.
Yeah, sorry, I missed like the last 5 minutes, but yeah, I'm curious. Maybe you already did this. Have more people decided to join the Kickstarter campaign? And throw a yes in the chat box if you have.
And then share it.
Yes,
far and wide and high and deep, but tell anybody and everybody about it. We want this sneak peek, this beta version in everybody's hands. So don't feel shy. This isn't an exclusive thing that you're not allowed to share with others. Like, you know, we need a bigger boat. We need a bigger, you know, education of our kids is at stake, right? Teachers are drowning. And if you know any first-year teachers, gosh, they're being thrown to the wolves this year. So let's share it with them, help them out, give them some resources that make them feel like they can take control back.
Awesome. Y'all, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you I'm excited you're supporting Kikori. And by the way, we're going to send you a couple emails. You're going to get an email pretty soon, just a reminder like, hey, join this Kickstarter campaign in case you're not able to do it right now. You'll have access to that link later. And then I will send you also another email later in August when the Climer cards virtual version is up and running. So we're really excited to share both those. And if you haven't yet, post your fun, what are these? Caricature. Hashtag Caricature, and post that up and tag us on social media. We love that. So y'all, thank you so much for being here. Bryn, thank you for being an amazing educator, and Kendra, and you all are just having this huge impact on the field, which I'm so excited about.
Well, we love your support, Amy. And it's been such an honor for me to have gone from fangirling from afar to co-hosting a webinar with you.
It's been my pleasure. It's been really fun. All right, y'all, we're going to sign off. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Hope your school year goes awesome.